Every gilded cage is built with walls of comfort. The only question is what you're paying for them.
Ever feel like you're just playing a part in your own life? Like the you that everyone sees is this polished, curated version, all designed to get the most likes, the most approval. Well, in this explainer, we're going to peel back that curtain. We're diving deep into social validation and how that constant, nagging need to be liked isn't just changing how you act, it's changing who you are. And really, this quote gets right to the heart of it all. It's one thing to, change how you act to fit in. We all do that. But this is so much deeper. The chase for applause, for likes, for approval, it's not just influencing what you do, it's actually getting in there and messing with your moral compass. It rewires what you believe is right and wrong. And the scary part? It's slow, it's subtle, and it is absolutely happening to all of us right now. Okay, so let's start with something we all know, right? That daily performance, the one we've all gotten pretty good at, the performance of being liked. And it's so easy to mistake this for being a kind person, but believe me, they are worlds apart. Think about it. Does this sound familiar? You're in a meeting, or maybe just out with friends, and you just swallow that opinion you have because you don't want to rock the boat. Or you say yes to helping someone out, even though you're totally burned out. And yeah, people praise you for it. They call you kind, agreeable, a team player. But let's get real for a second. What are they actually praising? It's not your kindness, it's your obedience. It's the fact that you're easy to manage. And this quote just flips the whole script, doesn't it? It's not that you're a bad person for doing this, not at all. It's a survival strategy. This so-called kindness, it's really just self-preservation wearing a mask. It's the deep-seated fear of being unloved, as being cast out, disguised as compassion. It's basically a defense mechanism that's gotten really, really good at its job. So here's the paradox, laid out plain and simple. On one hand, you've got what society calls kindness, being obedient, staying quiet, just going with the flow. But on the other hand, you have true kindness. And that takes guts. It means being honest, having integrity, and yeah, it means you have to risk being disliked sometimes. These two things, they're often pulling in completely opposite directions. And here's the real kicker. When you keep up this performance for long enough, that mask, it starts to feel like your real face. Your identity just becomes this collection of the safest choices. The real you, your actual truth, gets buried so deep you might even forget it was ever there. You end up as a sort of ghost version of yourself. All for what? The fleeting comfort of being liked? So you gotta ask, why is this so common? Why are we all doing this? Well, it's because this isn't just happening by chance. There's this huge, invisible machinery working behind the scenes. It's a powerful mix of our own deep-seated psychology and the modern tech that knows exactly how to push those buttons. Okay, first up, let's talk psychology. Our brains are hardwired to learn from other people. We're basically expert copycats. Ever since we were kids, we've been watching, observing, figuring out what works. We see who gets the pat on the back, who gets accepted into the group, who gets the promotion. And almost without thinking, we start to imitate whatever behaviors seem to get those rewards. And it all works in this really simple 4-step loop. First, you've noticed something. Your attention is caught by someone getting praised for, say, being agreeable. Then you remember it. That gets stored away. Next, you reproduce it. You try out that same behavior yourself. And finally, motivation. You get that little rush of approval, and bam, that's all your brain needs to want to do it all over again. The habit gets locked in. But wait, there's more. On top of that instinct to copy, we're also kind of like social accountants. Our brains are constantly doing a cost-benefit analysis. What's the reward for this action? What's the punishment? And the fear of punishment, like being rejected, shamed, or kicked out of the group, is a massive, massive motivator. We are fundamentally programmed to chase the good feelings of belonging and run from the pain of being an outcast. Now look, these psychological quirks, they're not new. They've been part of the human experience forever. But here's the thing. In our modern world, technology has put this entire blueprint on steroids. It's weaponized our own nature against us.
The digital world has amplified these tendencies beyond anything we've ever seen, creating this massive system of control that's everywhere and almost impossible to see.
And this whole system, it actually has a name: surveillance capitalism. This is such a critical idea to grasp. It's basically an economy built on taking our private human experiences, every click, every scroll, even the things we hesitate over, and treating it all like free raw material. It's harvested, turned into data, and then used to create products that don't just predict what we'll do, but actively shape what we'll do. All for profit. So how does the algorithm of control actually work? Well, it all starts with tracking. I mean, pervasive tracking. It's watching everything you do, even how fast you scroll, to build this incredibly detailed profile of you, especially your vulnerabilities. Then it uses that profile for hyper-personalization, feeding you the most emotionally charged stuff to keep you engaged. And finally, it seals the deal with reinforcement loops. The constant notifications, the infinite scroll that create these addictive habits. It's basically a slot machine in your pocket. And that's the chemical hook right there. Every single like, every share, every positive comment, it's a tiny little shot of validation. And your brain's reward system, it doesn't care if it's real or fake praise. It just bypasses all your logic and gives you that immediate dopamine rush. And that right there is what makes us so vulnerable, so predictable, and ultimately so easy to control. We just start performing for the next fix. But all of this, it isn't free. There's a huge price to pay for living like this, and it's a cost that's way bigger than just our time or attention. So let's get into it. What is the real price of all this fake applause? What is the real cost? What happens to a person or even an entire society when it's constantly chasing external validation? The fallout is serious, and it bleeds into every single part of our lives. When you look at the breakdown, the damage is everywhere. But the biggest piece of the pie, the number one casualty, is our own sense of self, our identity. Our ability to think critically just gets worn down because, let's face it, questioning the group feels risky. It leaves us swimming in this state of manufactured anxiety, always looking over our shoulder, always comparing. And in the end, we give up our own autonomy, all for the illusion of safety that comes with fitting in. And this whole thing traps us on what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. It's this nasty, vicious cycle. It just fuels this constant feeling of discontent, right? You get the job, you get the likes, you buy the new thing, and for a minute, you feel great. But then it fades, and you're right back where you started. Only now, you need an even bigger win to get that same rush. It's a built-in identity crisis, where your sense of worth is always tied to that next thing, always just out of your grasp. It's a powerful metaphor, but you can almost think of it as an unseen plantation of the mind. There aren't any physical chains or walls. The shackles are invisible. They're psychological. They're things like debt or the pressure to keep up a certain lifestyle, and this deep conditioning that tells us our value is tied to how productive and how likable we are. It's a bizarre form of servitude where we've actually become our own prison guards. And this quote, it just nails the absolute tragedy of it all. You become a ghost of who you could have been. The self-betrayal, it happens so quietly, piece by piece, that you don't even see it. You trade your real, authentic self for this empty illusion of acceptance, and you end up losing the one thing you were trying to protect in the first place. You. Okay, that was heavy. But here's the good news. It does not have to be this way. Yes, the system is powerful, but it is not all-powerful. We can actually choose a different reality. We can start that journey back, away from validation and toward authenticity. Look, stepping off that treadmill is not easy. Let's be clear about that. But it is possible. It starts with reclaiming what some people call your cognitive sovereignty, basically taking back ownership of your own mind. And thankfully, there are some really solid, proven frameworks out there to help us do it. Let's just look at 3 powerful paths. First, you've got Stoicism. This is all about grounding your self-worth inside yourself, not in what other people think. It makes you bulletproof to praise and criticism. Then there's Minimalism. It's a full-on rejection of that consumer treadmill, freeing you up to focus on experiences, not just stuff. And finally, there's the concept of flow. You know that feeling of being totally lost in a challenging activity you love? That helps you find motivation from the inside so you don't need it from the outside. So we're going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Our silence, our performance, our quiet compliance, it feels like a shield, right? It protects us from getting hurt, from conflict, from rejection. But here's the thing, that same silence, it's also a shield for the very systems that are causing all this pain in the first place. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: when does your silence start costing more than your voice?